Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Casper Network, or Casper. So sit back, relax, and before we fully jump on into this video, I just want to ask guys, please leave a like on this video. It does help the channel grow immensely, and of course I always do appreciate that. Now, with everything that has been happening within this market, Casper has been in a massive downward trend. Now today we're going to be quickly addressing the idea on, is Casper, just one massive disappointment? Honestly, when we are talking about the price action, when we're talking about what's being built, and also taking into accountability this entire massive market that we are in, I mean, we really need to address the idea on, is Casper the only asset that is actually down in price? And the answer here is absolutely not. I mean, honestly, when we are talking about the Casper price chart, yes, I believe that we are in a serious downward trend. We have broken down below some pretty, big lows. I mean, for an example, I thought that we were going to test, the September low and probably bounce from there at around 7 cents. But once this was lost, that's when I seen that we will most likely test, even lower. So currently sitting at around 6.5 cents almost. I believe that we will most likely test this bottom level down at about 5.5 cents, and I know that that's pretty crazy to say the least, but if we do lose this level here, it will be concerning. I just don't think that we will lose that level, of course. I think that when we're talking about the RSI, you guys do see where we pretty much bounced off of down here. It was that same level that we bounced off of back in February. And, could we go lower? Sure. I mean, it's a possibility that the RSI even reaches down to these levels from January. The issue here is just volume. I think that we need a lot more volume. I mean, the volume for, the last couple months since November has been pretty rough. So, right now, the main focus point here is to see a strong reversal on the price action. I'm still, very solid on the idea on Casper being an incredible opportunity. I still have not sold a single, one of my Casper. I'm still holding strong. When we are talking about the Casper Bitcoin price chart, you guys can clearly see it here. We have broken below some levels now, and when I say some levels, we are at the lowest point on the Bitcoin price chart that we've ever been at. Now we actually have to really kind of move this down here. Now we could actually see the level that we are at. So we have made lower lows on the Bitcoin price chart for Casper, which is bearish, and we still need a long way to go until we are actually in a bullish, point for the price action of Casper. Now, with this in mind, we are also in oversold areas on the RSI, the lowest level that we have been on the RSI since going back as far as July of 2021. Now, with all this in mind, this tells me that we will most likely see lower lows on the Casper, price charts. When I'm talking about that, that's that level that I just quickly addressed real quick at about 5.5 cents. Now, like I said, if that level is lost, I will get concerned. So watch this level closely. Now, am I saying to buy Casper right now? Absolutely not. It's totally up to you guys if you want to buy. I'm not here to give you financial advice in that area, but I will say this: I will be buying if we do breach this 5.5 cent mark and have a strong reversal from it. And when I say a strong reversal from it, I will most likely DCA up if I do see a lot of bullish price action follow a major bounce. Now, with this in mind, is Casper a dead project? Absolutely not. In fact, we've seen their new roadmap be released, and shout out to Rect Wojak here for this. But we do see here, version 1.4.5 vulnerability fixes. Decision today to launch the version on the test net, already available on the integration network for smart contract developers. Version 1.5, fast synchronization of validators, ETA end of March. To 4 versions 1.5.x, database migration to rocks.db, 10x more efficient, especially on disk space usage of validators. And then, of course, ETA is April for that. Release 2.0, ETA's Q3 of 2022. Summary: better performance, faster blocks, DeFi support, make development on Casper easier, create dApps, include it, and then of course consensus version Highway 3.0, Highway 2.0, and 3.0 can exist at the same time thanks to Casper's hybrid architecture, useful for ongoing test, standardize serialization, test Wasmer instead of WasteMy, Casper smart contracts execution engine, and of course we do see use of disk space, removal of intermediate states, and no pre-processing of smart contracts, UX improvements, replace account hashes with public keys, unify contracts and accounts. Each will have the properties of the other multi-sig, etc., and then DeFi support and simplification. So we're still seeing a ton of updates still left in regards to the network efficiencies, stuff like that. I think that we are still seeing major development happening within some use cases as well on Casper. I'm actually very excited to watch more listings happen for Casper, because I think that right now we are just lacking a lot of volume. I mean, honestly, the volume in here is only almost $3 million, which we are seeing an increase on 38.25% of trade volume in. But we still need some more major exchanges. Like, we are on some exchanges. I mean, don't get me wrong. Crypto.com's great, Mexi's great. Huobi's great, Gate.io is cool too as well. But like, we still need top tier exchanges. And when I say that, I'm talking about the big ones, right? Because don't get me wrong, Huobi and stuff like that's cool, but we want a Binance or a Coinbase listing to really move up in terms of volume. A lot of these projects, the problem isn't the idea that they are doing incredibly well in terms of development. It's the idea that they are lacking in volume. And trust me when I say this, Casper's not the only one. We've even seen this with XDC. Lately, we have been seeing a lot of volume increase for XDC. We're actually up about 17%. But until we see, some major exchange listings for some of these assets, we're not going to see incredible price action. But don't get me wrong. Do I think that Casper is listed on enough exchanges right now for us to see some major price action? 100%. I just think that, some high figure targets for Casper to really be targeted will need, top tier exchanges. Also, we do see here, don't sleep on Casper, partnered with the BSN China blockchain for Fuzhou. I hope that I'm saying that right. By the way, I always feel like I'm butchering that. Customizable blockchain for business application, blockchain services on Amazon Web Services, huge engineering team of 42 plus, experienced and professional team, FBI, Adobe, Bitfury, etc. They got something brewing, and they do. I mean, listen, I'm not here to tell you guys hopium on Casper or anything like that, or try to sell you on it. I'm just trying to teach you guys the fact that they do have a ton of things still being built. They have an incredible team behind them. Development is still happening, innovation still happening, and I really kind of leave you guys with this here as well. The Casper network is what Vitalik Buterin imagined the final evolution of Ethereum to be. Why would you not use the product that is already live, future-proof, and scalable, rather than wait, for years of delays to change Ethereum? Casper will turn many heads soon. And we actually see here, from Rekt Wojak again, building on Casper, what you need to know, by M. Parlicker, CTO of Casper Labs, software house building on Casper network. Casper contracts run like real software just on the blockchain. Casper doesn't strip anything away from the capabilities of Rust. And here you guys have it, what you need to know building on Casper. I've recently spoke with a few smart contract developers that are building DeFi for Casper. I thought I would share their feedback here. And here we have accounts are more than an address Ethereum. They have their own storage, and you can run contracts as session code in the account context. You do this by specifying your contract as session code. When you do this, the code executes in the context of the account signing the transaction. When the code runs, it has access to named keys, and the code can make changes to the account. Think delegating additional keys for multi-signature. Smart contracts have their own storage and cannot access the account context for security reasons. You don't want a contract reaching into your account and changing delegated keys. For example, smart contracts on Casper are like Ethereum smart contracts in that way. And of course, Casper doesn't strip anything away from the capabilities of Rust, unlike Solidity or Solana, where they, are many things you cannot do in your contracts, there are many things that you cannot do. Casper contracts run like real software just on the blockchain. You can include Rust crates for advanced functionality, create configuration files, etc. And then, of course, Casper contracts have a package manager. Think npm, crates, brew, etc. You can upgrade your contract with 3 to 4 lines of code. So these developers that are choosing Casper, for example, or Ethereum, why would these developers build on, for example, Ethereum? Why would they be utilizing Ethereum over Casper at all? Well, is it because they don't know about Casper? Is it because, maybe Casper is still a very new network? In my opinion, the reason why, developers are not aware of Casper is the same reason why a lot of individuals are not aware of, Hedera. It's just not being hyped. That's the problem right now that we see within this market. Is it's a lot of things are just kind of speculation, hype, kind of built up, overall FOMO. In my opinion, a lot of these layer 1 networks that are doing incredibly well in terms of efficiencies for not only, individuals that are trying to build on these platforms, but also companies that are trying to partner with them is going to really be the successful stories that we see that are going to deliver 10 to 100x plus, returns. Casper is one that, in my opinion, I still see a huge amount of substance behind that is really going to change the entire game. We actually see the Casper network position is becoming more obvious. Up to now, users are available to buy and HODL Casper through lots of major centralized exchanges, but I'm still wondering when will Coinbase and Binance list Casper on their exchanges. And I think that this is going to be the turning point. I think that one of these top tier exchanges that do list Casper is going to be the turning point where a lot of individuals start doing their research, start understanding the network in general, start understanding the efficiencies that it's delivering for not only, those individuals that are holding, because you can stake this. So you could earn over 10% now APR, but not only is it benefiting the individuals that are holding, but it's also benefiting companies that are partnering with Casper, developers that are building on Casper. I mean, there's so much here in terms of value that a lot of individuals are just not realizing. And also we do see here, we are excited to announce our newest hackathon, Ready Player Casper. This will be a gaming, metaverse, and NFT oriented competition. And this is pretty cool. I think that a lot of the stuff that they are doing in terms of these competitions, these hackathons and stuff, build up hype. They build up, awareness of Casper. And don't get me wrong, like Casper's not a small, company. They have over almost 200,000 followers on Twitter. And, as the hype and demand for Casper continues to grow, so does the awareness from these major exchanges as well. In my opinion, I think that we are going to see more exchange listings this year, as well as a ton of updates. Like I said, that roadmap from the beginning of this video is something to really kind of continue to watch. But also, don't forget that Casper has many ties to some other top tier networks. For an example, shout out to Kevin Cage for this. Casper and ALGO will connect. They'll both, connect to all the big layer 1s. And here we have Casper Atomic Algorand, an atomic swap implement between Casper and Algorand blockchain. And a lot of these connections, these bridges that you will to these major networks, is very significant. This allows for a lot more, just value to be transacted between these networks. I mean, this is great. I think that this is incredible as well. And I've talked to you guys about Algorand in the past. I don't really talk to you guys about it too much now just because, it does have a lot more value behind it. And, it is an incredible opportunity. I just think that when we are talking about where Algorand is positioned in this market compared to a lot of these other, networks, does Algorand have a bright future ahead of it? 100%. But is there better ROI positions in this market that you could take? Yes. But I have been talking to you guys about Algorand since it was around like 30 cents. It had an incredible year in 2021 in terms of price action. But don't, get it twisted. Algorand is still an incredible opportunity within the space if you are looking at the macro long-term viewpoints here. But it is also something to solidify the idea on where Casper's positioned as well. So, with that being said, do I think that not Algorand, but Casper is a massive disappointment? If you are only focused on price action, I could definitely see where you are coming from. But if you are looking at the fundamentals behind Casper, I think it's going to have an incredible year ahead of it. I think that right now, when we are talking about the entire market being down, and when we are talking more so about Bitcoin, because we still have to wait for Bitcoin to make its major run, and we still want to see Bitcoin break over resistance. But like I said, Are we going to be only focused on price action right now? No, absolutely not. I just think that this entire market is still awaiting that determining factor on Bitcoin. I think that a lot of altcoins are in the same position that Casper is, where we have lost a lot of steam. You can really kind of look at other assets like, for example, XRP. I talked to you guys about XRP a lot on this channel. This is in almost a similar area. I mean, obviously it's not in a massive downward trend, but at some point in time, that downward trend does turn into something where we do see a major reversal. For an example, here you have, XDC, which is still in my demand zone, but you do see, the change that you see, which is, of course, us breaking out a little bit on XDC. Q&T was also like this. I always talk to you guys about a lot of these assets because, they also have this massive downward trend, which of course turns into a reversal, which will lead to a major breakout event. Casper is no different. We just have to kind of endure pain until that does kind of switch up. Of course, though, this is why I don't try to catch a falling knife. I wait for, validation on a reversal happening and a nice price action move. Will I, have a problem, for example, DCAing up if I have to? Absolutely not. It's better to DCA up than DCA down, but watch it continue to fall. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.